Hello, welcome to the exercise class for Saturday the 6th of June. D-Day, I believe, 6th of June isn't it? As you can see, I've had my lockdown buzz cut. It's just so good. I usually have really short hair. My hair was so long, I just sort of really hated it. So it might be nice to see rain, Joyce, but not if you're walking the dog at 6 o'clock in the morning. And it wasn't. It was fine. It was quite nice and fresh. I don't really have a topic today. I could maybe last week, Wednesdays, I was talking about diet, and it was a bit rushed. So there's a lot of research now that's gone into, particularly a doctor called Dr. David Unwin, who is a GP up in Southport. And he sort of pioneered it. Other people are doing it now, but he's put a lot of type 2 diabetics into remission with a very low, not very low calorie, but very low carbohydrate diet. But if you want to do low carb, you don't really need to go very low carb unless you have pre-existing metabolic conditions like type 2 diabetes and all the rest of it. Obviously, don't do any of this without consulting your doctor, because if you're on medication for type 2 diabetes and then you go low carb, the medication will work, so you'll go hypo. So if you've got a medical condition, you need to do it in consultation with your doctor. And if your doctor doesn't believe in the low carb approach, maybe print off quite a lot of things from Dr. David Unwin and show him or her. Sorry, very sexist. I've always said female doctors. I don't know why I said him. But if you want to just try out low carb, you could try it for a month and see what happens, see how you feel. And you don't have to go very low carb, 100 grams to 150 grams, or even just cutting out sugar, additional sugar. But going low carb, just see how it works for you. Because I know somebody who tried it, and she was on the cusp of getting high blood pressure and didn't want to take medication. And she went low carb, and her blood pressure went down. And insulin helps you retain salt. Your kidneys retain salt. And one of the side effects of going low carb is that your body gets rid of salt because you don't have the insulin. And so your blood pressure goes down. And her blood pressure's gone down, her weight's gone down. She just feels generally a lot better. So it's not something radical. It's not sort of Atkins. The only fruit that I would suggest that you don't eat is bananas, because they're very high in carbohydrate. But I mean, on some of the diets, you're not allowed apples and all the rest of it. Well, I eat apples still. It's just that it's impossible to eat about 6 apples at a time, which if you're doing apple juice and you're having 200 mils of apple juice, you're getting about the equivalent of about 6 apples in one gulp. But eating an apple, you've got the fiber and it fills you up. And I wouldn't want to eat 6 apples. So I would suggest that you give it a go. You've got nothing to lose. I mean, it's not going to hurt for a month. But as I say, don't buy low fat. And the thing is that I can eat as much butter as I want, but because I don't have carbohydrate, I don't have bread, I don't have toast, I don't have biscuits, I don't have savory biscuits. I have nothing to spread the butter on. So I cook with butter, but I don't eat a lot of butter because I've got nothing to put it on. Similarly with cheese. I eat quite a lot of cheese, but I use it in cooking. I don't put it on biscuits or have it as a snack. That's the other thing. Don't snack. So eat enough at meals to keep you going to the next meal. If you have to have a snack, sometimes if I get hungry, I'll have an apple. But if you have to have a snack, then choose something low carb. Nuts, although they're quite fattening, but nuts are great. Almonds, fantastic. I eat a lot of almonds. Peanuts are not a nut, so beware of peanuts. They're a legume in the same family as lentils and things. I know lentils are quite high carb, but I still eat lentils and pulses and things because they fill you up and they're not like bread and potatoes, so they're not quick carbs. So I still eat lentils, not as much as I used to though. Right, so it's 11 o'clock now. I can hear the dog trying to destroy something in the kitchen, but I'm going to ignore it. So just let me have a quick look and see what he's doing. Oh yes, he's all right. Right, so we'll start with our warm-up. As usual, just walking nice and slowly. Hardly moving your knees or your feet off the floor. On your toes if you can. We've been doing this long enough now to be on your toes. If you're new, then just take everything nice and gently. You do all these exercises at your own capacity. So we do 10 repetitions of each exercise. If you can't do 10, that's absolutely fine. Do as many as you can. And then the 10 is something to aim for. If you need to, have a chair, because we use the chair in some of the exercises. But also, if you are new to exercise, you might need to sit down just to catch your breath. Or you may not be able to walk properly. You may be fairly immobile, in which case you can do most of the exercises from the chair. I nearly said from the chair. Get your arms moving as well. It's quite a tendency to do this. Just so as you're mobilizing your shoulders and your hips and your knees and your ankles. Right, if you can keep walking, marching to do. If not, stand still, hands on shoulders, and have a good old stretch. Get your rib cage away from your pelvic, your hip bone. Really good old stretch. If you can't get your arms up by your ears, you can only go that far, absolutely fine. Don't try and force anything. I see people who've got limited arm mobility, shoulder mobility, and they're trying to force their arm up. And it's really bad for your shoulder. It changes your posture. So just do it as far as you can. And eventually, if you've got a nut and you want to loosen it, if you wiggle it, it eventually comes loose. Same with your arms. But if you can get them up there, absolutely fine. Down to here, out to the side. Back in, out to the front. Back in, so up, and then shoulders, push out. You really give it a good stretch. There's something just beyond your reach. In and forward. Splay your fingers. And one more time. Up and down, out to the side, back in, forward, and back. Right. We're just going to work a little bit more on shoulder mobility. Just put your hand on your shoulder and make your arm like a wing. I'm going to turn sideways so I think it's easier for you to see. And imagine you've got a pencil on the end of your elbow, and you're going to do circles. So you're going to do 5 back and 5 forward. So full range of movement. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then forwards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Nice and slow, nice and controlled. Other one, just have a look at your arm just to check it is out like that. And then we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have less mobility on this side. And then forward. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Don't forget that circle. Okay, right, we're going to start doing heel digs, just small digs like that with your heel, your toe pulled back. And at the same time, anchor your elbows into your waist. And as you do the heel dig, you're going to do a bicep curl with the opposite arm. This is a bicep curl. And bring your arm down so that you're getting the range of movement in your arm so that your elbow is being mobilized. So we're just going to do the heel digs and the opposite arm curl, bicep curl. We're going to do 3, 2, 1. Next one, we're just going to go out to the side, just a little step out to the side, just touching your toe on the floor. And then at the same time, you're going to start with prayer hands. And as your leg goes out, your arms go out. So this is doing your shoulders and your elbows and your ankle and your knee and your hip and your balance and strength on the leg that you're standing on. It's just got everything, this has. And we'll go 3, 2, 1. Next one, if you're in the chair, you'd probably just be able to do the arms of this bit. Sorry, I should break it down. Step back. Gone very quiet in there. I don't know what he's doing. It's like having a child. You wonder if the child's quiet, you wonder what they're doing. And then at the same time, push your arms out. Again, this is mobilizing all your joints. The leg that you're standing on is being strengthened because you're having to take your full weight on the leg as your other leg goes out behind you. It's good for balance as well, because momentarily you're standing on one leg. I'm going to do 3, 2, 3, 2, 1. And then finally, we're going to do the toe tap. And same arm movement as for the heel dig. Hands into your elbows, into your waist, and then opposite arm and leg bicep curl as you're just doing slight taps with your toe. Okay. 3, 2, 1. Now we're going to do a little bit more arm and sort of upper body stuff. So put your arms out. No, we're not going to do that one. We're going to start. This is good for posture. So we're going to engage core, and then we're going to do all alternate arms like this. So engage your core. Remember, the core is these big muscles around your waist. The ones that, excuse me a minute. It's all right. The ones that support your spine. So core muscles give you movement and stability. We'll just ignore it and he'll go away eventually. Shh, be quiet. So we're going to engage core. So breathe out. Pull your navel into your backbone as hard as it will go, and then release it slightly. And then having your hands, starting with your hands on the fronts of your thighs, one arm goes back and one arm goes up to your shoulder, to your ear. So that's 1. Don't rock your body. 2. Nice and controlled. 3. 4. 5. 6. 7. 8. 9. 10. And then without pausing for breath, we're going to have our hands here. We're going to rotate our arms so that our hands are pointing outwards. We're going to push the air up, touch our hands above our head, rotate, and push the air down. So rotate and down. That's 2. Keep rotating. Every time you move your arms, rotate your hands. 3. 4. 5. 6. 7. Rotating your hands all the time. This is 9. And 10. Rotate down. Brilliant. Now we're going to go through that routine that we did with the heel digs and things. So we'll do it quite slowly. So heel dig, we're going to do it as a sort of routine. Side, back, toe tap. Heel dig, side, back, toe tap. Heel dig, side, back, toe tap. One more time. Heel dig, side, back, toe tap. Right. So we should be nicely warmed up now. It's a bit chilly now, isn't it? I don't know what the weather's like where you are. Probably quite nice in Italy if you're watching, Delia, and in Australia. But oh no, it's winter in Australia, isn't it? It's a bit chilly in Manchester. Right, so we're going to start with squats. Now, if you can't do a free squat with good technique, so remember, a squat is not putting your knees over your feet. It's sitting without the chair. If your thighs and your glutes, your bum muscles, aren't strong enough to support you, then you need to do it in the chair. And the chair, you sit in the chair, sit at the edge of the chair, forward in the chair, knees at 90 degrees, ankles under your knees, and you're standing up and sitting down in a controlled way. If you can't do that, use momentum with your arms for momentum. If that's not possible, you can put your hands on your knees to stand up, but try and sit back in a controlled way. When you stand up or when you do a squat, don't let your knees come in. Keep your knees apart and then sit down nice and in a controlled way. So we're going to do 10, either standing, sitting from the chair, or as many as you can, or squats. At the top of the squat, we're just going to push the pelvis forward and bring your hands behind to touch behind. You can have your hands out in front, here, whatever you like with your hands. So feet hip width apart, at least hip width apart. You might find it easier to keep, if your knees want to do that, if you turn your toes out slightly. So we're going to go down. 1, 2, 3. Remember, you don't need to go down very far. 4. You should be looking at the screen. 5, not at the floor. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Who knew a jiffy bag would be such good value? Right. Did you manage 10 of those? Well done if you did. The next one, we're going to do our rowing one. So you're sitting in the chair, sit forward in the chair, feet out, toes pulled back. If you have a band, do this with a band. If not, you can still do the arm movements. It won't give you resistance, but it will still mobilize your shoulder and keep your shoulders loose. So you want to put the band around your feet in your instep if you can, so that it doesn't boing off, keeping your feet pulled back. And then I'm just coming this way to show you what the arms do, although those of you that are regulars should know this by now. So you're sitting with your feet pulled back, your back nice and straight, and it's only your arms. Your arms skim the side of your body, your hands skim your thighs. So you're going to pull back as hard as you can. Have quite a good bit of tension on the band. Don't hold it right at the end, because then you can go all over the place. Have quite a bit of tension. Hold it quite far down. So pulling back. Imagine there's a pound between your shoulder blades. Somebody's trying to pinch it. So 1. Make sure your elbows are in. 2, not like this. 3, 4. Don't rock your upper bodies. Only your arms that move. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Wonderful. Right. Right, next we're going to do the, what are we going to do? Yes. We're going to do the one that strengthens your muscles at the side of your thigh, the side of your hip. If these muscles aren't strong, that's one of the reasons that your knees come in when you want to do a squat. Right. So remember, it's just your thigh just moves up like that, your whole leg. You don't want to turn it because you want these muscles to be pulling it up so your foot still faces forward. And when you bring your leg down, don't put your weight on it. Keep the weight on the other leg. And hold on to the, do you want to go in there? It's okay. Don't lean to the side because the object of the exercise is not to get your leg up as high as possible. It's to just make these muscles work. So we'll go hold it there just for a couple of seconds. 1. Again, be careful, it's just the leg that's working. 2. 3. Round about 5, you should be starting to feel it a bit. Or maybe you're feeling it now. 4. 5. You can have your foot quite loose and floppy. 6. 7. 8. 9. 10. Did you manage 10? I feel like play school. Did you manage that, children? That was fun, wasn't it? Right, on the other side. I find this side more difficult. 2. 3. 4. 5. Can you hear him growling away? 6. It's like a tired child chuntering to himself. 7. 8. 9. 10. Well done. I'm just going to go and see what he's doing. No, he's just like a tired child. You know how they get a bit fractious. He needs to sleep. Right, we're going to do a bicep curl. I'll do it on this side. So I want you to stand on your band and hold it in one hand, like this. Make sure your elbow is anchored into your waist. And I'm going to show you, all you're doing, have it so that when your hand is down here, there's a bit of tension. Don't have it totally loose. There's a bit of tension. So your muscle, this bicep, is always under tension. And then just all you're doing is closing your elbow, as it were. Okay, so we're going to do 10 of these. You don't rock back. If you find yourself rocking back to pull it up, stop, because the technique has gone. So let's engage core. Pull your navel in, relax slightly. We're going to do 1, 2, nice and controlled. 3, go about there. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then we're going to go on the other side. I'm not going to turn sideways this time because you know what I'm doing. And we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's crunching noises coming from the kitchen. I'm just going to go and see what he's doing. It's the old favourite, is a plant pot in the garden. Right, now, next one, get the chair. It's a one leg balance. Now, last week, on Wednesday, I did the balance where you're swinging your leg. Oh, he's brought it in to show you. Yeah, swinging the, wrong way, swinging the leg. I find this one quite difficult. And I asked whether people found it easier or more difficult. Some of you found it easier, some of you found it more difficult. So what I'm going to do, they both have merits. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to alternate them day about. So we did the swinging last week, and we're going to do this one this week. So remember, your hands are on your hips, you raise your leg so that it's parallel, if you can, so that it's parallel with the floor. If you can only get it up to there, that's fine. And then you raise it a little bit higher and put it down. If you're hardcore, have it parallel and then straighten. Don't do rising and straightening, just parallel and straighten, or parallel and then up. And keep your back straight. When you do that, don't do that. Your back stays straight. Again, only your leg moves. Right, breathe out. Pull your navel into your backbone. Release, relax slightly, but make sure everything's taut. One leg, and up we go. We're going to try 10. Woo, said she, falling over. And then up. 1. Up. Up. 2. When you bring your leg down, don't put your weight on it. 3. Because your other leg is benefiting from this as well. That's 4. Because it's having to take your whole weight. 5. And these muscles here are benefiting from this bit. Oops. 6. It's talking and trying to balance at the same time. 7. 8. Up. 9. 10. That was a bit of a wobbly one from me. How are you doing this week? Right, breathe out. It's just started pouring down with rain here. Pull your navel into your backbone. Release slightly. Hands on hips. And up. Up. 1. 2. 3. Whoops, I had to take that one down quite quickly. 4. Bit wobbly today. I've not been practicing. 5. 6. 7. 8. 9. Last one. 10. Well done. How did that go? Oh, I was a bit wobbly, but my legs are feeling it. I think that one, for me, that one is more difficult than the swinging. I think I maybe prefer that one a bit more. Right, we're going to do the upright row now. This is the one. If you haven't got a band, hold your thumb so that your hands stay together. And remember, it's your elbows first. It doesn't matter how high up you get it. If you can get them to your chin, fine, but you've got to have that V. If you can only get to there, fine, but still have that V. That's the main bit, because it's this bit that's lifting up. If you've got a band, stand on it, put it under your feet, and then cross it. Okay? Now come forward. Hands together. Try and keep your forearm, your wrist, and your hand as one line, one sort of wooden paddle. Don't bend your wrist like that. Back nice and straight. Don't rock. Don't hunch your shoulders. There's a tendency to try and get them up to do that. Don't. Shoulders stay nice and relaxed. It's just your arms. 1, 2, 3, nice and controlled. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And I think that's a good, breathing, that's right. That's a really good one. But it's difficult. The technique is difficult, I think. And it's quite a strain on your arms. So if you can manage to do it, I think that's really good. Right, we're going to do a bit of ab work now. Before we go any further, I do apologize because somebody asked me about breathing and exercise. And I knew when I went live earlier, or when I was planning, I knew there was something I should be talking about, and I couldn't remember what it was. So on Monday, I'll talk about breathing techniques whilst you're exercising. But today, we're going to do our ab work. So we're going to sit right on the edge of the chair. Knees at 90 degrees. And what we're going to do is have our arms here. And then we're going to, keeping your back straight, don't sort of collapse in. Keeping your back straight, we're going to go back and touch the chair and then come forward. Okay, we're going to do that 10 times. But I think what we're going to do is we're going to go back, just touching it, not resting on it, and then forward. It's quite hard, that. Right, so we're going to do 10. So you ready? 1, oh-ho. Really tighten those abs. 2, and then touch and come off slightly, and then up. 3, back, come off slightly. 4, back, come off slightly. 5, back, come off slightly. 6, back, come off slightly. 7, back, and then off slightly. 8, keeping your feet on the floor. 9, and then one more, back, off slightly, and then come forward. We're going to do the same thing again, but back and come off just about 1 millimeter, and then whilst we're away from the back, we're going to just straighten one leg. Okay, so back, touch, just come off, and then one leg is going to straighten. Keep your toe pulled back. 1, don't lift your thigh. 2, these thigh muscles are getting a workout now as well. 3, so your abs are and your thigh muscles are. 4, 5, how are you doing? 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And if you can, without recovering yourself, start on the other leg. 1, 2, if you've had to sit up and take a bit of a rest, that's fine. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And sit up. Wow, that sort of worked the abs as well, didn't it? See, I told you he was tired. He does that. He goes, doesn't know what to do with himself, fussing around all over the place, and then suddenly, like a toddler, boom, and he's asleep. Right. we're going to do the triceps, which is this one here, and this is the over the shoulder one. So remember, you're holding on to the band with this hand. This one controls the tension and how much tension there is on the band. This one is over your shoulder like this, as if you're going to hit somebody or hit something with a hammer. If you've got problems, and what the aim of the exercise is just to not move your shoulder muscle, your shoulder joint, but just your forearm just goes up to the ceiling. If you can't do this with your arm, if you've got limited mobility in your shoulder, bring it down to chest height. It's a bit too stiff, that. Bring it down to chest height, and you can push down to the floor. You're still using the same muscle. In fact, it's easier to do this one and not move your shoulder. But anyway, if you can, do it this way. Don't have too much tension, because if there's too much tension on this, you won't be able to lift your arm. So we're going to do 10. So 1. This one's a good one to do in front of the mirror to see if your shoulder's moving. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then swap it round. Same thing. Arm right back, holding on to this with this, the other bit with this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Fantastic. That one's difficult to get the technique of that one. Right. As usual, we're going to do another 10 squats or another 10 sit-ups from the chair. Or if you can't do 10, just do as many as you can. However many you want to do is absolutely fine. No, however many you can do is absolutely fine. You should, if you last week, if you managed 3, try 4 this week. Try increasing it. Don't be happy just to stay where you are, because the body adapts. And so in order to keep fitness or to keep getting fitter, you have to keep challenging yourself. Okay, so we're going to do 10 squats. So 1, do it nice and slow. That makes it much more difficult. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Did you manage the 10? Right. Side bends now. My least favorite one. Feet just slightly wider than hip width. Remember, you don't have to do your arm over the head, but if you do, keep it straight. So you're having to actually use it. Consciously keep it straight. But you don't need to put your arm over your head if you don't want to. So we're going to go down. I am going to use my arm. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you do the breathing, I find it easier to breathe out. So breathe in now. Breathe out. 6, breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. 8, breathe out. Breathe in. 10. And if you can try the breathing on the other side, so breathe out, or breathe in, and then breathe out, and then in, and then out, in. If you're going dizzy, don't breathe so quickly, don't take such deep breaths. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That one I find actually is easier if the, excuse me, I find easier if the breathing is correct. So I might start practicing doing that myself. I'm a bit bad for the breathing, but I tend not to breathe properly when I'm exercising, which is naughty. Right, we're going to do our little routine. We're going to just do it slowly first, and then I'm going to put the imaginary music on and we'll do it to that. So we start with heel digs, side, back, toe tap. Heel dig, side, back, toe tap. Heel dig, side, back, toe tap. Heel dig, side, back, toe tap. One more time. Heel dig, side, back, toe tap. Right, we're going to do it a little bit faster. If you're new to it, don't worry about keeping up or anything. If you keep with it week after week, it will come. Okay, so we're going to go heel, side, back, toe tap. Heel. Oh, I'm sorry you can't hear this music. It's really good. Back, toe tap. Heel, side, back, toe tap. Heel, side, back, toe tap. Heel, side, back, toe tap. This is great for coordination. Heel, said she, getting it wrong. Side, back, toe tap. Balance, heel, strength, everything, toe tap. One more time. One side, good for memory as well, because you've got to remember the steps. Toe tap. Fantastic. Well done. Right, we're going to, without further ado, go into the stretching. So the first one we're going to do is the calf. So we're going to have one leg behind us, front leg bent. Make sure your feet are both pointing the same direction. Have a look and just check that they are. Don't assume that they're doing what they should be doing. Back leg straight, heel on the ground. Front leg bent. Lean forward. What are you doing? All right. And you should feel this stretch about the top of your calf. And then we're just going to very gently bend your knee, and your heel will come off the ground, and you should feel the stretch moving down into your Achilles tendon. And then swapping legs. Back leg straight, make sure your feet are both pointing in the same direction, heel on the ground, lean forward, feel the stretch in your upper calf, almost behind your knee. And we'll hold that for a few seconds. And then very gently bend your back knee, your heel comes off the ground, stretch goes down into your Achilles. Okay, now we're going to do the big muscles at the front. So if you can, it's this, remember, grab your foot, your ankle, your sock, your trouser leg, anything that you can get hold of, and have your knees together, standing up nice and straight. If you can't do that, just do this with your legs. So this is dynamic stretching, this is static stretching. So static stretchers, hold it, holding your foot. Dynamic stretchers, we're doing this. And then static stretchers, switch legs. Dynamic stretchers, keep doing this. Okay? 3, 2, 1. Fab. Now we're going to do the hamstrings, the big muscles at the back of your leg. So sitting nice and far forward in the chair. Knees at 90 degrees, ankles under your knees. We're going to sit up nice and straight. One foot forward, toe pulled back. Sitting up nice and straight, lean forward from your hips, not your waist. Now remember, this should be challenging but not painful. And it depends. Some people are more bendy than others. But as long as you can feel the stretch at the back of your thigh, and probably down into your calf as well, then that's fine. And then sit up and repeat on the other side. So remember, sitting up nice and straight, lean forward. Okay, right, so standing up, hands out, palms forward. Remember, it's round a tree, so our arms are round like that rather than like that. You're not pushing them out like that, you're keeping them like that because you're trying to get that big back muscle separated. And dip your head. Okay, and then if you can, interlock your fingers behind your back. If you can't, just try and get your elbows together. An impossibility, obviously, but that £1 coin is still between your shoulder blades. If you're interlocking your fingers, just lift your hands up a bit, and that just gives you the stretch across your chest. Okay, and then just you move one arm across your chest, take your other hand and just above your elbow, just push gently so that you're stretching these muscles here. If you've got any shoulder mobility problems and this hurts, don't do it. Don't turn like that. It's only you keep your pelvis and your shoulders facing forwards. It's just you're pushing on this arm. And then we'll do the other one. Peace, perfect peace. Okay. Now we're going to stretch these muscles. This is from when we did that. So hand up and try and get it down your back like that. If you can't, or if you've got shoulder mobility problems, then do what you can. And then you take your other hand. I'm going to sit down so as you can see what I'm doing. Take your other hand and push. Whether you do it like this or like this, it's entirely up to you, but you should feel a stretch there. And then do the other one. Pull it back. It's funny, I push that way with one arm and this way with the other one. Okay, right, sitting down now. See, I'm nice, I give you a rest at the end. And just dip your head. Put your hand on your crown. Feels lovely up there. Put your hand on your crown and just don't push, just let the weight of your hand push your head down a bit, just so as you get a bit more stretch on the back of your neck. And then look up. And then we're going to do what's called a PNF stretch. There. To try and increase the mobility of your ability to turn your head. That last sentence didn't make sense, but sorry about that. So keeping your shoulders facing forwards, turn your head to the left. Note where your chin is in relation to your shoulder. And then put your hand on your chin and try and turn your head back to the center like this, but resist with your hand. So you're creating tension in your neck. And then release and see if you can turn your head, even if it's only a nanometer further to the left. It will be increasing the range of movement of your head, which is really important. Bring your head back to the center now. It's really important because if you're crossing the road, coming up to the curb, you're trying to see what's there, you're having to turn your whole body, you're now overbalanced, and falls can happen that way. If you can do that, it's much easier, much safer as well. So turn your head to the right and put your hand on your chin. Try and turn your head back to the center. Really have a good old fight going on, and then relax totally and see if you can turn your head a little bit more. It's really important to keep doing neck flexibility exercises. You don't necessarily need to do the PNF one, but sometimes when I'm at traffic lights, if I'm in the middle lane, it's a bit embarrassing, but I turn that way and then turn that way, just to keep nice and slowly, just to keep the mobility in my neck. So that's it. Thank you very much. And I will see you on Monday. Hope you enjoyed that. Sorry about, I hope the dog doesn't distract you too much. It distracts me, but I'm starting to get used to him. I'll have had him 3 weeks tomorrow. So we're getting used to each other. Okay, bye.